So what do you know about hemp?
Nothing.
I know it's been decriminalised in Thailand.
That it's a plant. Yeah.
Let me grab you. You want to be in an interview about hemp?
Weed.
Kinda. Hi, I'm Victor, and I'm on an adventure to uncover the secrets of industrial hemp. Along the way, we'll talk to plant scientists, farmers, and growers to explore one of the world's strongest and cheapest materials. So join me on this journey as we explore fibers, the roots of industrial hemp. Hemp has been grown for thousands of years, but recently has fallen out of favor in comparison to cotton and nylon in the fast fashion industries. We're here today in Cardiff to find out what people know about hemp.
You can make stuff out of it.
Well, I know clothing is one.
It's really good for you can make paper, you can make clothing.
I only can have a hand cream, but
my dad has a hemp hand cream.
Yeah.
Well, it's cannabis without THC.
Cannabis without the THC?
Yeah.
Hi, my name's Patrick and I'm one of the co-founders here at Hempen. One day, one of my friends, Joe, said hemp. We've got to include hemp. It's the community crop. I came back to him one day and said, Joe, how's the hemp experiment? And he said, it's quite good really. I've just planted 27 acres. So what we do is we grow for the seed primarily, and then the seed is pressed into a hemp seed oil. And then you get a seed cake remaining. And the seed cake gets milled down into two things, a hemp flour and a hemp protein powder. Hemp's so strong that a lot of farming machinery isn't always able to cope with it. You can do it with most ordinary farming machinery with enough care and attention.
Why do you think we are not using more hemp?
Because it's just so affiliated with weed.
Yeah.
So it's got kind of a bad rap.
It's grouped in, it's kind of a misconception and it's connected.
The paper trade stole hemp, is that right?
Can be fairly certain it was criminalised for corrupt reasons. People in the cotton industry and the pulp industry in the US particularly pushed for industrial hemp to be criminalised because it was a threat to their interests. When the Second World War came, they had to reverse that because they needed hemp to be grown for the war effort. And so we've lost the tradition of farming hemp, and now we are getting back to it, but with these restrictive laws.
At the National Phenomics Centre, just outside Aberystwyth in Wales, plant biologists are using cutting-edge technology to evaluate the properties of industrial hemp.
These are specialist root columns where the plant grows down, hits this face, so we can see the roots. And when you take one of these and peel this off, you can see that hemp grows a lot of roots. Hemp is good for soil. They're about a month old when we stop watering them, and it's just we forgot they were here basically. You can see it's produced a huge number of these very, very fine roots, which are only about 1/10 of a millimetre diameter. So it's very efficient at picking up stuff from the soil.
So we've harvested from the 15 varieties, we've harvested at different dates, different stages of development. So basically what we do is we strip off the bast from the stem and we get this fibre. So this is what goes into textiles. So yeah, we want to analyse all these samples. We want to see how it changes with stage of maturity. We want to compare the varieties to see if there's any differences in quality. This is very tough fibre. I mean, I don't know, this is probably easy to break. But if you try and do this in the field, with a fresh stem, it's really, really tough.
You can pretty much make absolutely anything you can make with unsustainable materials like wood. It grows a lot quicker.
Hemp gin, that exists.
Yeah.
Hemp gin exists.
I used to make parachutes out of it.
Parachute, yeah.
Yeah, I used to make hemp parachutes. I know you can make Rizla rolling papers out of it as well.
Yeah.
My mate, he's got a farm in Yorkshire, he did a barn out of hempcrete.
You know you can make concrete out of it too?
No, I did not know that.
A lot of us bringing new products to market are partly about demand, but also partly about what are we not using that could be used. We now have to import. I mean, the law is ludicrous. Now the law is that if you're a hemp farmer, you have to destroy your own flowers, but if you're a hemp farmer that also makes CBD products using your hemp seed oil, like we do, you can import the CBD oil and add it to the hemp seed oil. So we make, so crazy. You literally burn money and then you have to send money abroad. Hemp seed oil is rich in vitamin E, so really good for your skin and hair. We take the oil and we use the oil to make various other cosmetic and cosmetic products as a carrier oil and as an ingredient. So we make a soap, body wash and a hand wash.
You think it's easy to get a license?
Well, it should be.
Hemp is legally considered to be the same as the type of cannabis that can get you high. There's very little difference except for the THC levels. THC is the cannabinoid that gets you high.
So we can only grow approved varieties. So we're only growing varieties that are on the EU approved list. So most of the varieties have been developed in France, I mean a few in Czechoslovakia, Poland, I think a few in Italy as well. They obviously all have to come below the THC content has to fall below 0.2%.
Applying for hemp licenses has been a real mixed bag and at times a real bureaucratic nightmare. At points you've had to use 4 different logins with 4 different passwords. There's no appeal process, so if you get rejected, you're rejected and you can't do anything other than take them to court, which costs tens and hundreds of thousands of pounds. And in 2018, for the first time they said explicitly, hemp farmers cannot grow for CBD. And so we were left with 40 acres of illegal cannabis growing in the eyes of the law. And we had no choice but to either risk facing prosecution or cut it down.
Basically, it's a cannabis plant, and to distinguish, plants that produce higher levels of THC from the industrial varieties. I mean, they tend to grow taller, but it's not quite so clear cut, especially when they're less mature. I think that's always going to be an issue. I don't think they're ever going to permit planting it wild.
My name's Tim Coleridge. I'm a Chartered Architect and Senior Lecturer here at the Centre for Alternative Technology in Wales. So behind me here is hemp lime. One of its commercial names might be hempcrete. We're seeing it here as a simulation of how it might be used to insulate, say, the inside of an older building. This is hemp shiv. So this is the woody stalk of a hemp plant. Mix it with a little bit of lime, and you just kind of pour it in, gently tamp it down. As it cures and sets, it becomes quite hard. We can see here that this is quite a hard, dry structure now. Because it's a bio-based material, because it's grown, it's absorbing CO2 from the atmosphere. So imagine if we all took responsibility, would we continue to choose materials that are using huge amounts of energy and cause environmental impacts of different types, or could we swap those out for much lower impact materials, lower energy to produce?
From building materials to food and textiles, hemp is already being used in innovative ways that are changing the game. Everything inside of this room has been manufactured with hemp. Here in Wales, a company can produce durable hemp MDF at scale. That's not all. Hemp flour can be used in place of normal flour, creating a bread that is indistinguishable but more nutritious. Requiring less water and time to grow, hemp paper is mold and mildew resistant, lasting centuries.
What if we could build monolithic hempcrete constructions? How much carbon could we lock up in those structures? That's quite intriguing. And this might not seem sort of extraordinary, but the thing to bear in mind is that under current building regulations, one can't do this. This is why it's a student experiment on an experimental site like we have here. Gradually built it up layer by layer by layer, which is why it's got this slightly stripy appearance. It's really an experiment in testing the limits of the material. We'll leave it up for a while, see how it fares. So it's feasible. The tools exist. The barriers at the moment seem to be in relation to the readiness of the industry to actually, shift towards this. At the end of its life, it's not a toxic waste. It could be a soil improver. You could literally grind it up and compost it, and that would be a benefit to the soil rather than a problem.
Well, is it like a cheap material
to produce? Yeah, but I mean to buy new, this would be incredibly expensive. How much do you reckon this jacket is new?
25 quid.
Like 30 quid? More?
£20.
In 2018, Trump legalized industrial hemp on a big scale. How much do you reckon the same costs in the United States?
Like 10, like 100.
Your first price was like 20, 25?
Yeah.
About 15, 20 bucks. So the price has been brought down from £100 to essentially a tenner or 12 quid.
Right, so why is it so expensive in the UK?
That's the question we're trying to ask.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right, okay.
I think it's part of the future. Obviously, I think you've got to look at, I think the solution is much more complex. I don't think there is one solution out there that's going to achieve, all we need to achieve. but I think it should be part of the solution. I think if anything, the past is evidence that you can produce it, that you can produce good products from it. We have evidence already there that it is a worthwhile crop, basically.
I mean, hemp's happening. It's happening. There's more and more people interested. As people become more ecologically aware, as people become more desperate actually to solve some of the big problems we're facing ecologically, financially, in agriculture in particular.
Our generation definitely understands that cannabis is more than a drug.
Because especially now we've got like limited resources and
Yeah,
like a lot of stuff is like mass produced with fast fashion. I feel like it'd be much more like ethical. Yeah.
But the whole point about this is a crop that is suited to our agriculture, suited to our climatic conditions. So as far as UK agriculture, this is a crop that could have a real role going forward to achieve net zero.
I think we need to be re-evaluating economic decisions from a sustainability standpoint, thinking about wider sustainability benefits of using bio-based materials. You can use those modern methods of construction even with a bio-based material like this.
People contact us from all over the world saying that they want to grow hemp, and that's because this awareness is growing and growing. The need is growing and growing, and so hemp is an inevitability at this point.
Why shouldn't British farmers have access to the varieties that they need?
The selling point is how it's environmentally friendly, and to be honest, they'd be quite foolish not getting involved then because it's incentive. But again, there's got to be that awareness and need and a call out for it.
I work with what I can on the ground, and for me, I know that I'll keep working to help make hemp more available, free to grow, affordable, and at a decent quality.
With its versatility and sustainable properties, hemp has the potential to revolutionize industries ranging from agriculture to construction, clothing to food, medicine to plastics, and beyond. It can solve many of today's problems in society. Now, it's in our hands to decide its future.